So here's something to think about. This is something I was thinking about last night. Okay, so this all came about because I've been watching Lucifer. So if the thought process is that there is a heaven and a hell, and that's what you believe, and that part of going to hell is not only doing bad things, but that your guilt takes you to hell as well. So your guilt over something takes you to hell. And that guilt is what will ultimately be your torture and punishment for the rest of eternity. How does that work? Because personally, I think that in the moment of your worst mistake or guilt-ridden moment, you end up becoming quite numb. So you stop feeling and you go into survival mode. And I just think that if that's how hell works, if there is such a place as hell, then it would be useless. And the demons or whatever that are dealing with hell would have a really tough job. Because maybe not everyone works like me. In my life, I can honestly say I have made one big mistake. And maybe I'm lucky in that, but I've always followed the rules to the T. I've made one big mistake in my life, and at the point of that mistake being dealt with, the upset, the guilt, and the hurt that I'd hurt some people involved in that, emotionally hurt. I hadn't physically gone and hurt anybody. Emotionally hurt people involved in that situation. I ended up, I had all those emotions, I had all those feelings. I cried, I was upset. But after crying for 12 hours and feeling these feelings, I reached a point where I was numb and tired, and didn't matter what messages were coming through, didn't matter what anyone threw at me at that point. I was numb to it. Didn't feel anything anymore. I was just in survival mode where everything else had shut down. I don't know, maybe it's a post-adrenaline thing, I don't know, but whatever, I stopped feeling. So if that moment in time was going to be my forever torture in hell, it would be pretty pointless to relive and relive and relive that moment, because I'd become numb to it. And I believe that is the case when people do bad things and are exposed to bad things over a long period of time, whether they're in gangs or in an abusive relationship or with the wrong people, the bad things become less bad to them as time goes by, because it becomes a norm to them. They become almost immune to the bad things. They must subconsciously know that it's not right to do these things, but they get into a frame of mind where it's okay. And I'm talking anything from probably petty theft, where to start with you might have been dragged along with a gang to go and do something and then felt guilty about it, to the point where you stop feeling guilty about it because it becomes your norm, does it not? I don't know. If you're doing that all the time, that's how you're making your money. And then maybe all the way up to people who murder people, who go, that was really bad. But if you're living in that, I don't know, gang state type situation, or part of some group that is like that, I suppose it's a bit like brainwashing, isn't it? Then you become numb to it. These are just my thoughts. These are just my thoughts. Random thing for me to be thinking about in the night. But yeah, it did. It just came to me last night. And I was like, I must remember that and share that thought with you. So hell would be pretty pointless, would it not? It would just be ineffective at eternal torture. What are your thoughts?